La Plata Electric Association Board of Directors to order. So now Drew's going to make this open to the public. Is that right, Drew?
Yes, it's open now.
So this special meeting of the La Plata Electric Association Board of Directors is being called to order, and it is being made available to anyone in the public that wants to sit in via Zoom to this virtual meeting. The purpose of this special meeting is to approve new members, and all the board has that agenda to that effect on director point, and we need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make the motion to approve the agenda, Bob. This is Tim.
Tim made the motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Jack. Any discussion? All in favor, would you unmute and say aye?
Aye.
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 All opposed, unmute and say no. All right, that motion carries and the agenda's been approved. And you now have on director point, you have the attachment with all the new members that you've had a chance to look at. And we just now need a motion to approve acceptance of these people as members of the association.
So moved. Kohler.
Kohler, motion by Kohler,
Yes.
Jack seconds it.
a second from Jack. Any discussion?
Yeah, it's Joe. I'm just curious. This approval of new members kind of strikes me as harking back to the days of Jim Crow. And I'm just wondering, do all co-ops do this? And do we have to continue to do this? And have we ever rejected anyone, or could we legally?
I think she'll want to weigh in on that. Yeah.
And so our bylaws require, in order to become a member, you do two things. You sign up and agree to be bound by our rules and regulations, and then the board of directors approves you. The board and the association can expel members for various reasons, and those are set forth in the bylaws. And if you were to be expelled as a member, then what would happen is we still have an obligation to provide you with electricity, but you're not a member of the association. And the reason that you would be expelled are for, like I said, for reasons that are set forth in the bylaws, but it's for basically misconduct and things like that.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Just seems pretty antiquated and weird to me. So,
Rachel, thanks for joining. We just have a motion on the floor. We haven't voted. A motion on the floor on the acceptance of this new member list. You're still muted. I see your finger. Good thumb. Thank you. A thumb, not a finger.
Hey, Bob.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Bob, this is Gwen.
Yeah, go ahead, Gwen.
Just so everybody knows, the list in Director Point, at least earlier this morning, was incomplete. It only went through the C's, but you were emailed a complete list. So if anybody's wondering why there's...
Sorry, Gwen. It has refreshed. Karis got that. I forwarded your email. Thanks for catching that. And it's refreshed to reflect the full list in Director Point now.
Okay, good.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion to accept these members, would you unmute and say aye? Aye.
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 All opposed, say no. All right, the motion carries and those new members are accepted. We're going to officially adjourn this meeting and reconvene at 10:30 for the partial virtual annual meeting. We have Tiffany, I see you've joined us. Thanks for Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you're going to be able to be on later and share results with us.
Are we using the same link?
Yes, we'll
Okay.
just stay on this same meeting. Thanks, Joe.
So Drew's just going to basically hit pause on this meeting. Is that right? We don't exit or leave the meeting?
That's correct. You can just stay. If you want to mute yourself and or turn off video, feel free to, but you can just stay on this meeting.
Okay, then this meeting is adjourned and we'll reconvene at 10:30. All right, we are back. We will wait a minute here, get everybody a chance to get all hooked up, tuned in. I see we have 32 attendees, not counting us as panelists, Drew, so far.
Yep, and growing.
And growing. Yeah, cool. Let's see. Are there directors that aren't here? Holly, is Kirsten there? David's not there. Dan's there, Kohler's there. Is Britt there yet?
Yeah, he's there.
Okay,
Kirsten just showed up too.
Kirsten there. Rachel's there. I see Rachel. Joe's there.
Did a quick count and got 11 directors, Bob.
Yeah, I think it's David is the only one not there. All right. It is a bit after 10:30, 10:33. So I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and I'll ask Drew to go ahead and make it public now.
Yep, we're set. Open to the public.
Okay, very good. Let me, this is Bob Lynch, President of the La Plata Electric Board, and let me welcome you, everyone, to the 2019 virtual partial annual meeting. How's that? This is a meeting whose purpose will be primarily to elect LPEA directors and confirm the results of this year's election. The business part of a normal annual meeting will be held sometime later. So the agenda has been posted, and I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order and ask for a motion to approve the agenda that's in front of you there.
So moved by Kohler.
Kohler moved to approve the agenda. Sorry?
Seconded by Rachel.
Seconded by Rachel. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, would you unmute and say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed, say no. None opposed, the motion carries. So we have an agenda set for this virtual meeting. We'll do a little more welcoming and getting everybody familiar with what we're going to do today. But there's 34 people there in the attendee column. I just want to particularly thank them for taking their time for being here this morning. To start the meeting, Drew's going to put an American flag up there, and I'll ask you to stand if you like and recite the pledge along with us. If you'd unmute and help out, that would be great. So Drew, if you post that, I'll start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
United States of America.
and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Very good, thank you. First, as you know, this is such a unique and challenging time for everyone. We've all learned a lot of simple things like how to have a meeting, which isn't the most amazing thing in the world, but it's still hard, and there's learning that gets involved there. We've had tremendous support from our tech people and everybody at LPEA to help make this happen, and glad that attendees can be here. And we look forward to a time, sometime later, we can't say exactly when, but sometime later when we'll have a live meeting to finish out the official business of the 2019 annual meeting. At this time, I just want to make sure that we all acknowledge that we want to honor all of those on the front lines that keep our critical and essential services open for those of us that are able to spend a little more time at home. There are many who have to be out there. I want to particularly recognize our own crews and people are out in the field keeping the lights on, our customer service people that are dealing with people every day, and dispatch professionals that still work around the clock to make sure electric service is uninterrupted. Also, all first responders, medical professionals, and those who keep things, these essential and critical services like our grocery stores and our other things that we just can't do without, keep them open. Those people all basically step out in harm's way every day, and we want to honor and acknowledge them. So I hope we'll all just take a second to do that. Let me, by way of introduction, say that we, CEO of La Plata Electric, Jessica Matlock, is here with us, as well as her key staff that are there in attendance. You can see we'll be answering some of the questions later on. Board members, we are represented, just so everyone knows, in District 1. You can see people's names there, but Archuleta County includes me, Bob Lynch, Holly Metzler, and Kirsten Skihan in attendance today. District 2, south of Durango, David Montoya is absent today, but has been here for many, many years. Dan Huntington and Kohler McGinnis. District 3, city of Durango, Britt Bassett, Rachel Landis, and Joe Lewandowski. And District 4, north of Durango, Gwen Unger, Tim Wheeler, and Jack Turner. Thank all of you, and glad we can carry on this way and get this meeting executed effectively. I'm looking, just give me just a moment, trying not to be too cumbersome. If we have former directors in our guest column there, I'm looking over at a lot of names that come to a lot of our meetings. I appreciate how loyal these people are and how important they are to keeping everybody's mind focused and our interests centered on what's best for everybody in the membership at La Plata Electric. So thank you all. I see Betsy Ramirez out there. I think she's been to more board meetings than I have. So, you know, she gets the award for that. So thank you all for attending. Now we need to appoint an acting secretary for this official meeting. Karis, will you fulfill that role? Can we ask you to do that?
Yes, thank you. I accept.
Thank you. And Shay, will you fulfill the role of parliamentarian for this meeting?
I will.
Thank you. And then Shay, will you let us confirm that official and proper notice for this meeting has taken place and rules and procedures related to that?
Yes, sir. So pursuant to Article 2, Section 3 of the LPEA bylaws, notice of the annual meeting was properly sent to all members not less than 45 days and not more than 10 days before this meeting. The notice read that the notice of annual meeting for La Plata Electric Association, Inc. shall be held on Saturday, May 16th, 2020 at 10:30 a.m. There was also a note up there that due to the coronavirus pandemic, the annual meeting may be postponed, and directed members to go to lpa.coop/annual-meeting to get more information. Now, as a result of the pandemic, organizations have been prohibited by the governor from having in-person meetings in excess of 10 people. And so therefore, as President Lynch noted, the LPEA Board of Directors passed a motion at its April board meeting to bifurcate the annual meeting. The election of directors will be addressed today, and the business portion of the meeting will be deferred to a date until after the restrictions have lifted. So therefore, this meeting constitutes the meeting of members held solely for the purpose of electing new directors. Colorado law allows elections to occur by a mail-in ballot or in-person voting, and members are allowed to cast only one ballot for each question that is presented. Due to the pandemic, voting this year has occurred solely by mail-in ballot, and pursuant to instructions posted by LPEA, all ballots had to be received no later than 4 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on Friday, May 15th, 2020. Also, as allowed by Colorado law, LPEA has selected an independent third party to tabulate ballots and determine votes for the candidates. This year, the LPEA board selected La Plata County to tabulate those ballots, and that was led by Tiffany Parker. She has completed the counting of all of the ballots, and she will announce those results in a few minutes. Now, we usually have standing rules that are in place regarding speaking, but because of the unique situation that we're in today, we're going to have to modify those standing rules. Now, all members that are in attendance that don't have speaking parts are listed as attendees in the Zoom screen. And you have all been muted so that we don't have feedback from multiple speakers. But I would ask that everybody, including the panelists, to double check to make sure that if you're not actively speaking, that you are muted so that we don't have to worry about feedback. Members, instead of having a comment period at the end, were asked to submit questions to LPEA, and those questions will be reviewed and answered towards the end of the meeting. This is in lieu of the usual member comment period, and we will handle the usual member comment period whenever we deal with the in-person meeting. But I will note that the questions that have been submitted will be answered today. Full answers will also be placed on the LPEA website, and a summary of those questions and answers will be published in an upcoming edition of Colorado Country Life. And President Lynch, that's all I have with respect to the standing rules and procedures at this time.
Great, thank you, Shay. Thanks for covering that. Before we tackle the next item, we'll be relying on Tiffany to give us election results. Let me first, our new faces here, and we have several attendees and may not have been to a board meeting in quite a while or haven't been since last year. Let me ask Jessica to introduce her key staff that are here with us today. We have and some that are remaining from years past and some new names there that people should know who they are and what they do.
Sure, thank you, Bob. So I'll start with Hillary Knox. She's our VP of Communications, and Hillary, if you can give a wave, thank you. So Hillary's been with us for a few months now, and little did she know she'd be right into the middle of COVID-19. So thank her for coming and helping us through this time. So I think most people know Nadine Monteveros, so she's right there. She's our VP of People and Culture. We also have Dan Harms. He's been here a very long time, VP of Grid Solutions. We also have a new member, Carl Ramsey. He is our VP of Finance, and so he also came here new and jumped right in during COVID-19, so again, appreciate that. Justin Talbot, most people know, VP of Operations. Drew Timmerman has been here for a while, but we've elevated him to VP of Information Technology. And we have Garrett Hammer, and he's been here a while at the Pagosa office, but he is now the district manager for Pagosa and recently new in that position. So thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And I think it's a testament to what a great team you have, just how well the organization's functioned during this challenging COVID time, and it's operated without a hitch along the way. So it's credit to you and to the team you've assembled. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Then without further ado, we have Tiffany Parker, the clerk of the La Plata County, who's been handling our elections superbly the last few years and is going to do that again this year. And so I'll turn it over to you, Tiffany, and we'll go ahead and have you tell us the results of the election.
Okay, thank you, President Lynch. I appreciate it. So once again, I am honored to serve La Plata Electric Co-op and the community, and in the capacity as your election official. And this year obviously was a little bit challenging and different for us. We did a very good job tabulating the ballots in a secure way. And I want to thank all the election judges and the election commissioners with their assistance. So, because usually I come up to the podium, so this is the sealed results, because we were done yesterday at 4 p.m. And as far as people being able to return the results, so I'm going to open the results and give them to you. So it's a little different this year. Okay, so we had a total of 7,603 ballots returned. So I will begin with District 2. District 2 for Doug Foltz, we had 1,259 votes. For John Lee Jr., we had 1,286 votes. So the director elected for District 2 is John Lee Jr. For District 3, Dave Knowlton, 693 votes. Rachel Landis, 1,764 votes. Director elected for District 3, Rachel Landis. District 4, Sue McWilliams, 1,330 votes. Gwen Unger, 1,261 votes. Director elected for District 4, Sue McWilliams. So I hereby certify these results for the May 16th, 2020 LPEA election, and I will get these submitted to Shay and Cindy today. And again, there is not any results that are close for a recount. And so these are the certified results, unless anybody has questions for me.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thanks for, again, doing such a capable job. Are there any questions, anything for Tiffany from anyone? Shay, you have your hand up?
Thank you, President Lynch. And I will note that because of the 7,603 votes that were returned, that constitutes more than 5% of the membership. And so therefore, that is more than the necessary number to constitute a quorum for purposes of this meeting.
Thank you for confirming that. Any other questions? Okay, then those results are official and certified, correct, Tiffany?
Correct, and I will get those submitted. And again, thank you for allowing me to conduct the election, and I know our citizens greatly appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you again next year.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Yeah. Superb job. We just couldn't be done as well without LaPlata County's help and your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is we had opened the opportunity for questions up to our membership, and I think only 4 questions, pretty significant ones, but 4 questions came through. And I'm going to go ahead and read the question and then direct someone to answer it. Here's the question. Can those of us who have home solar panels also benefit from signing up for the time of use program? We want to always time our use in a way that is most beneficial for all, and we can be flexible, I think Dan, our VP of Grid Solutions, might be the best to answer that.
Yes, thank you, Bob. That's a good question, and I've had that question asked by a few other customers in the past. And you know, I'm going to sort of tackle the first part or the second part of that first, which is we always want to time our use in a way that's beneficial to all. And so there's a couple of ways you can go about this. First off, just using your usage, having your usage coincide with your solar production is the best way to go. That means you're using the electricity you produce right there at your house. And what that does is it prevents that electricity from flowing backwards onto the grid. And we only have so much room for that electricity to flow backwards. And so if you're using the electricity you produce, that allows your neighbors and other people to be able to produce more electricity as well. And we can put more on the grid that way. And so no matter what rate you're on, using your consumption that you produce is really a good way to go. Now, the first part of that question was, can we benefit from signing up on time of use? And that's one of those answers of it depends. And it really depends on how much load you can control and how much load you can move. As a general rule of thumb, we've been telling people if you're controlling more load than you have solar capacity, then consider time of use. For instance, if you have 3 kilowatts of solar on your roof, but you control your water heater and your water heater is 4.5 kilowatts, definitely look at time of use. If you have solar on your roof, but maybe you're just timing your dishwasher and maybe when you're doing laundry, you might still be better on the standard rate. We have some people on staff that'd be glad to help answer that kind of question and go through that detailed analysis with you. So just give us a call and we can help you there.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Dan. Here's another one for you, Dan. How can solar generation be an asset to LPEA since it's only available while the sun is shining and battery technologies are still quite expensive?
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, another good question. If you look at LPEA's load, of course, we have load that's on during the day. We have load that's on during the night. With renewables being so low cost right now, we want to use those when we can use those for sure. That's the low-hanging fruit, absolutely. And so 40% of the load that occurs at La Plata Electric occurs during those daytime hours. And so there's a lot of solar generation that we can put on our system, anywhere upwards of 160 megawatts. That's a tremendous amount of solar that we can put on our system before we even have to worry about energy storage at the time. And by the time we get to that point where we've maxed out or we've covered our full daytime load, technologies would have advanced and come around to where batteries are going to be much more economical than they are today. And there's going to be other solutions that are out there. But for right now, what we can do is do solar by day. And during the evening, there's a lot of wind power that's still being generated. Not so much here in Durango, but we can get that sent to us if we had the flexibility of doing something like that. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Dan. Here's one that Jessica, I think, would be best to answer. Isn't LPEA now allowed to locally generate more than 5% of its power supply under Tri-State? Does that change your desire to exit your contract with Tri-State?
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, so just to make it clear to everybody, we've not determined to exit the contract with Tri-State. The board passed a 3-pronged strategy in 2019. One of those is to examine our current contract with Tri-State. One of those is to work with Tri-State on developing a partial contract. And then the third option is getting an exit number so that we can understand our options in the best way. So in regards to that additional amount of renewable power, yes, Tri-State did approve an additional 2 megawatts for LPEA. However, that moves our percent from 5 to only 5.4%. And so we are still committed to looking at all 3 options and getting the information. So we can't determine if we will leave Tri-State at this time or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. The last question is one I'll tackle. How much money has been spent on research of the Tri-State buyout in the last 2 years, up to and including director fees, travel, employee time, attorneys, consultants, and other expenses? If you can't answer this question, then tell us why. Let me give an answer to that by first providing some context to this. It's really important to understand the world that we're in, that Tri-State is owned by 43 electric co-ops, of which we are one, and we have a contract to buy wholesale power from them through 2050. And within that, we have the right to explore and exit from that contract. The bylaws of Tri-State specifically allow for withdrawal on equitable terms and conditions. So it's not doing some sort of rogue thing to explore departing. It's actually our fiduciary duty to understand what a fair and equitable exit cost would be, because we've done some preliminary study, and that's where we have spent a little bit of money, preliminary study and calculations that suggest hundreds of millions of dollars could be saved over the life of the contract if we pursue other options. But we really don't know that for sure until Tri-State comes through with their side of the bargain when you're part of a cooperative, and that is that they need to tell us what the cost of leaving would be. That's what's incumbent on them. Tri-State has an obligation to work with us and provide an easy to understand exit charge and methodology so that we can accurately evaluate options. We have not been provided with that exit number, so we have continued to spend some money on consultants and attorneys, because we feel like it's important that we can't give up that right or give up that fight. And Tri-State forces us to continue to push them to live up to their obligation. We want to work in the most reasonable and friendly, cooperative way, but the side of the bargain that Tri-State isn't fulfilling is just tell us the numbers so we can make smart fiduciary decisions for our members here. Our legal expenses are within budgets we set in 2019 and 20, and we feel really strongly as a board that they are a good investment in assuring that assuring and ensuring that the best options are available to us in the future. There will be a time to account for budgets and money spent down the road. In the meantime, we stay within budget, and we primarily live by the philosophy is it's really important not to be penny wise and pound foolish. There's a lot of potential savings out there, and we'd be foolish to give up the engagement in that issue right now. So we will account for that down the road, but we're going to continue to do smart things for all of our members and ensure that over the long run, we've got the best possible service at the lowest possible cost, and hopefully more local and cleaner, which are big options available to us today. So those are the 4 questions we had. We look forward to the time when we are live and we can have more back and forth on this and get more members attending. We don't know what that event will be exactly, but we'll find the right time, right place, and right forum for doing that, so we can keep this a really active membership that we have informed and engaged as we move down this road. So with that, since that concludes the 2 main purposes of our meeting, I'll congratulate the winners of the election. You'll be learning more about how that integration process works going forward, and we will have our first board meeting with new elected board members and returning board members next Wednesday via this same forum on Zoom. Just a moment. And we will be, the first order of business is select officers for the next year, which is an orderly process we do of transitioning leadership. Kirsten, you had a hand up, and so anyone, comments or questions, you go first, Kirsten.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to acknowledge the outgoing directors, both Gwen and David, for their great work. David for sheer longevity, if nothing else, and Gwen for bringing a unique and strong voice to the board. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Thank you for bringing that up and saying that so well. Other comments or questions, anyone? All right. Anything, Jessica, to close with?
No, just appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate it as well. I think we're starting to learn this process. Thank you, all the attendees.
Bob, there is a hand up.
Oh, sorry.
There's a hand up from Dan.
Sorry, Dan. Dan, go ahead. I'm sorry I missed that.
Yes, I got a text earlier today wanting to know what the schedule was if the director was elected and what the orientation meeting time and date was.
Jessica, would you like me to answer that?
Yes, please. Thank you.
After this meeting, the winning candidates will receive an email with the orientation agenda and the timeline. Does that help, Dan?
Yes.
And that will be, it'll be Monday morning. That date was also in the candidate packet. So we will reach out to them after this meeting with the details.
It'll be Monday morning, the 18th.
Yes. And that's to prepare so that the board is prepared for Wednesday's meeting so that they have all the technology and the ability to have what they need for Wednesday's meeting.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anything else, anyone? Am I missing any hands out there? Okay, and again, thanks for all those attendees. We had 33 some people there. Thank you very much for taking your time and tuning in. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting. I look forward to next week. We continue this process and continue our work creating the best possible future for La Plata Electric. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Thanks.